Stanley Kubrick didn't just make films. He built psychological structures, labyrinths, experiments, warnings dressed up as stories. And the filmmakers who came after him, some ignored those warnings, but a very select few, understood them. These are the directors who didn't just admire Kubrick, they learned his darkest secrets and carried them into a new generation of cinema. Number 5. Paul Thomas Anderson, the confessor of human frailty. PTA's connection to Kubrick goes deeper than visual style. It's about the emotional temperature of their worlds. Kubrick once said that the most terrifying thing about humanity is how calmly it acts on its impulses. No chaos, no shouting, just a quiet slide into destruction. PTA absorbed that idea completely. In There Will Be Blood, violence doesn't explode, it simmers. It boils silently until it's unbearable. That's Kubrick. That's The Shining level restraint. A world where emotion is volcanic but the camera is absolutely still. PTA's tracking shots feel Kubrickian not because they imitate, but because they observe. They watch characters the way Kubrick watched Alex Delarge or Jack Torrance with a calm, godlike indifference. And in The Master, Anderson goes even further. The film feels like a mirror of Eyes Wide Shut, a world where charismatic authority becomes a hypnotic trap and identity begins to dissolve. PTA didn't copy Kubrick's methods, he inherited his obsession with human weakness, with the quiet, polite ways people ruin themselves. Number 4. Christopher Nolan, the engineer of controlled chaos. Nolan often gets praise for structure, but the real Kubrick lineage is his clinical detachment. Kubrick's films are about systems that outgrow us, outthink us, outlive us. HAL 9000 doesn't rage, he simply follows protocol. Nolan's worlds operate the same way. In Inception, dreams follow rules more strict than reality. In The Dark Knight, Gotham collapses not from crime, but from a mathematical imbalance between fear and control. That's Kubrick. Human beings overwhelmed by forces they created. And in Oppenheimer, Nolan finally steps fully into Kubrick's philosophical territory, the territory of Dr. Strangelove, where intellect, politics, and ego combine into something catastrophic. Nolan is not cold, he is precise, calculated, relentless. Like Kubrick, he treats emotion as an outcome, not a device. He didn't just learn from Kubrick, he evolved one of Kubrick's harshest ideas. The moment humanity believes it understands its own systems, the systems win. Number 3. David Fincher, the modern surgeon of human nature. Fincher is often discussed as a stylist, but his real inheritance from Kubrick is psychological anatomy. Kubrick dissected human behavior through composition. Fincher dissects it through pattern. In Zodiac, the killer is never found, because the film isn't about the killer. It's about the systemic failure of obsession, the way bureaucracy strangles itself. That's straight out of Paths of Glory and Dr. Strangelove. Fincher's camera is calm, deliberate, almost predatory, a perfect echo of Kubrick's slow push-ins and unblinking wide frames. But the darkest connection between them is this: both directors believe humans are not mysterious, they're predictable, painfully predictable. Fincher's worlds, like Kubrick's, feel hopeless not because they're chaotic, but because they're organized, by logic, by patterns, by impulses we're unable to escape. Fincher isn't standing in Kubrick's shadow, he's walking the same path with a flashlight. Number 2. David Lynch, the surreal descendant. On paper, Lynch and Kubrick seem like opposites. Kubrick is order, Lynch is chaos. But spiritually, they're twins. Kubrick believed the universe is fundamentally unknowable, that behind the polite rituals of society is something ancient, unsettling, and impossible to articulate. Lynch took that idea and built an entire cinematic language around it. Twin Peaks feels like The Shining with the mask removed, a world where the supernatural is woven into everyday life, where dreams and reality bleed together. And Mulholland Drive is almost a spiritual continuation of Kubrick's style, the calm, perfect surface, the violent subconscious underneath. Where Kubrick uses geometry, Lynch uses dreams. Where Kubrick uses symmetry, Lynch uses nightmares. But both are telling the same truth: reality is not stable, identity is not solid, and the universe has teeth. Lynch is not Kubrick's imitator, he's Kubrick's spiritual echo. And finally, number 1, Alex Garland, the true heir. Garland is the modern filmmaker who feels most directly linked to Kubrick's worldview, not visually but philosophically. In Ex Machina, the moment Ava is complete, she outgrows her creators with the same silent inevitability as HAL 9000. In Annihilation, the alien force studies humans with the same calm detachment as Kubrick's camera studied astronauts in 2001. Garland's characters face phenomena that don't hate them, don't judge them, don't even notice them. They simply act according to their nature. That's Kubrick's darkness, a universe without malice, but full of consequences. Garland isn't copying Kubrick, he's continuing the investigation Kubrick started. The investigation into what happens when humanity finally confronts something that doesn't need it. Kubrick didn't leave a blueprint, he left a warning, a set of ideas so sharp that only a handful of directors dared to pick them up. These filmmakers didn't just learn from Kubrick, they inherited his worldview and carried his questions into a new century. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing for more breakdowns just like this.